Well gentlemen, I'm drunk. And I feel this is about the only time I can really tell this story. So here it goes. In Afghanistan, Marine Squad leader. On an extended patrol, basically sit out there and watch the surrounding desert, occasionally catch a few guys emplacing IEDs. About 0130, checking up on my guys to make sure they aren't falling asleep/need anything. Get to my last Vic, guy in the turret says he is watching a group of about 5 guys walking to a compound in the distance on thermals. Grab thermals, get talked onto them, and that's when it gets weird. Technically, they were colder than the surrounding environment. Weird. Keep eyes on since nothing else to do. Entire time they are still heading to this compound in the distance. Get there, they spend about 5 minutes milling around outside. Looks like they go to the front gate a few times but hard to see. Don't know how, but they got the gate open then sprint right inside. Hear distant gunshots, call it in. COC says check it out, could be Taliban fucking up the locals. Get everyone up and ready, blackout conditions, and move to the compound. Rollin' up on the compound, about 500 meters away. See a kid book it out of the compound, runs straight out, happens to be toward us. I say screw it, flip on the lights. He sees our lights, heads right for us even faster than he did before. Gets to us, starts screaming at us, and our terp is flipping out. Just as he got to us, 8 dudes came out of the compound and started sprinting towards us as well. Still 300 meters away, so we pop a star cluster at them to get them to halt. Still running. 200 meters away, pop another. Kid is still babbling, terp is screaming to shoot. Get on radio, keep COC updated, they hit 100 meters, pen flare goes off. 50 meters, COC says it's my call. They are now in range of our headlights, all of them are covered in blood. I give the go ahead. Too close to effectively use our .50s and marks, so thank fuck my turret gunners grabbed their saws instead. Whole squad had dismounted by then, Doc was checking the kid. 8 dudes getting lit up by 3 saws and the rest of the squad mag dumping with their rifles. Needless to say, didn't take long since we were Marines and we generally don't miss. Check the bodies, all unarmed but drenched in blood, more than could be accounted for with our 5-second one-sided firefight. Call it in, head to check out the compound. Set up a cordon, I take the dismounts and terp up to compound. Terp is screaming to just level the place with an airstrike. Fucking terps, always saying we should use way more than we should. Sometimes they're right. At the gate, not forced open but there was body parts right on the inside, looked like one person got ripped apart. Real nasty, worse than when I saw a chick ripped in half from a mortar. Guns up, clearing the rest of the compound. Everyone inside either has their guts ripped out, arms ripped off, necks torn out or otherwise dismembered and dead. Call in what we found, COC tells me to stand by. Smoke a couple of cigarettes, terp is asking when the airstrike is coming in. COC finally gets back and tells me that a special human exploitation team is coming out to assist. What? We've got a kid who is basically in shock and a whole bunch of dead bodies. Whatever, they want us to wait, we'll wait. COC also says not to go into the compound, could be rigged with IEDs, thanks for the timely intel guys. We wait for about 45 minutes when I get a call from a hello asking us to mark an LZ for them. Alright, don't know why they couldn't just drive out here. Hope we don't have to drive them back to whatever fob they came from after they're done. Hello shows up, lands, drops off 3 dudes then takes off. Hello Corporal. Anon, I'm Major so-and-so, heard you had something interesting for my team. Human exploitation team. Anyone care to explain to those of us who aren't former service what this actually means? Interrogation, building trust with locals, gleaning info. Give him a rundown of events leading up to the shoot order. Did you go inside? Yes sir, we did. We conducted a full search of the compound, found nothing. He gets quiet, goes over to the bodies, uses blue light on his flashlight to check out the bodies. Blue light makes it easier to see fluids like blood and oil at night. He calls his 2 guys over, says a few words and they drop their packs and start changing into MOPP gear. Think rubber suits, rubber boots, rubber gloves, and gas masks, if you don't know. Tells me to just wait. More waiting. They go inside, spend 5 minutes and then, about 5 to 8 gunshots, real quick, probably different people shooting simultaneously. Oh shit. Without thinking I grab a couple of my guys and book it to the compound again, calling out for the major. Oh crap, if we missed a spider hole or something and got them killed, we are screwed. I'm the first one in through the gate and just as I got through it, one of the guys steps right in front of me and says everything is fine, they just had a negligent discharge. He also says they found a IED manufacturing room and that we should leave since it isn't safe and they are doing the same. What? Who the fuck just accidentally shoots off 8 rounds? And we sure as shit didn't miss something as big or important as IED components. They finish up, Hello comes back and picks them up. We head back to base, get redirected to a larger fob halfway there. No explanation, just told to go and link up with the captain. Already exhausted, we get there at like 0800. As soon as we called in for permission to enter friendly lines, we get told to wait. Again. 30 minutes of sitting in front of this gate, waiting. Finally get waved through and we are immediately directed to a staging area right on the inside of the wire. Guys are standing in MOPP suits, get told to dismount and shed all our gear. Apparently, the major found evidence of possible chemical weapons in the IED factory, so we need to be scrubbed for exposure. We get shuffled off to some makeshift showers where we strip down, hand off all our gear to dudes in MOPP suits that clean it while we get ourselves a nice freezing cold bleach shower in what amounts to basically a few tarps hung up for a semblance of privacy from the rest of the fob. After it's all said and done, they had given every last bit of our gear and ourselves a full scrub. We got different vehicles since it would take them longer to do those plus replacing the crew systems and other electronics in them. A few weeks later we got sent on some convoy off to a major fob. Get told whole squad has to go to medical to check for any adverse reactions to the exposure from that night. Get our blood drawn, then nothing. Went on a patrol near where that compound was later, nothing left but a crater. All the locals stayed away from it too. And that, my friends, is my story. I can elaborate on why I think shit was not on the level due to minor details. You don't use bleach to clean up chemical weapons, that's for biological stuff only, etc., but there it is. Mostly uncut and from my perspective at the time.
Holy shit. This thread is still here? Okay then. Deployed in Afghanistan. Sent on another B.S. recovery mission, something about abandoned munitions in a turban town. We are sent to confirm how much is there and what condition it's in, so it can be airlifted out. We get dropped off a little more than halfway there and have to fast march the rest of the way there. We arrive at about 0600 and the whole town is abandoned. DBS scattered and some in the houses. Anon take herp, derp and fuckface and search those houses on the north end. First few nothing eventful, but the second to last one we heard noises. So we prep for breach. Lucky me, on point. Again. Hold up guys, it's barred from the outside. Fuckity have charges agathis.jpg. Blammo, let's do this. Clear left. Clear right. Clear, oh my god. Fucking red sand script all over the walls. Noises louder like someone whimpering. 2 human-esque objects in far corner of the room. Contact front, I yell. It's just some kebab crying in the corner with blood on his face clutching a black good for dear life. Figure next to him covered in black robe looks like a burqa, logic dictates woman. Guy is crying and chanting something and squinting because he now has 4 flashlights on him. Herpy WTF is he saying? It sounds like he is praying. Tell him to stand up, we have to search them. Herpy is out translator in case you didn't catch that. Sim sim salabim. He says he can't stand up, his legs are gone. Holy fuck, how did I not notice that his legs look like they have been chewed off? Quietly panic. Herpy ask him WTF is going on. Halla halla get Dalla Akbar. I don't know, he won't answer me anymore, he just keeps praying for forgiveness from Allah. Fuck that. Derp, go search them. Searches, man, he's clean. Praying gets louder and more irritating. Derp reaches for woman and she starts moaning like a fucking wilder beast. Derp backs up and draws to fire. Herpy tell her to take off the burqa and put her hands up. At this point IDGAF about cultural respect. Bakalakadaka dirk dirk. Man start freaking out trying to move away. I notice now most of his back is gone, I can see bone, blood, muscle. WTF. I raise weapon. This next part is kind of fuzzy since at this point everyone is freaking out a little and yelling. Herpy is yelling at the woman, Habib is yelling at Allah, Derp and Fuckface are yelling at me asking what to do. Woman start shrieking and groaning a sort of inhuman tortured soul kind of noise. Man starts loosing his cookies. Starts smashing his head against the wall over and over. Watch in disbelief as Habib literally smashes his brain into pudding. All noise stops. Feels like forever quiet. All of a sudden the thing starts screaming. Loudly. It stands up. It was not a burqa, just a large black cloth. It's tall, like over 7 foot. I can see its arms and legs. Dark brown wrinkled skin, long nails, yellowish blemishes scattered. Too scared to move or think. The noise is so loud it hurting my head and making my cup my ears. It back up to the wall and somehow crawls 7 feet of its terrifying ass into a hole roughly the size of a football, ass first. I mean, holy shit, it looked like a giant spider getting sucked into a vacuum a quarter of its size, all while wearing a fucking blanket. Derp fires 2 rounds in the hole. Too shocked to say anything, just standing there with a stupid look on my face. Radio lights up and on. WTF is going on? We heard shots fired. Nothing, Sarge, we have it under control. After coming down from shock we quickly discuss WTF happened and what to say to everyone else. Decide not to look crazy and cover it up. We cover Habib with a rug and try to wipe off the red, later discovered blood, writing on the wall. Report back for an ass chewing on why we radioed we were breaching a building but not reporting any conflict that needed firing a weapon. The 4 of us talked a few times more about it, how it was weird no one else heard the screams or saw anything running away. I never went back to that base after I left on leave, I was transferred and debriefed on the situation. My guess is someone talked. No matter how bad I wanted to tell the shrink as base about it, I don't want to be prescribed crazy pills. I already have some for PTSD I don't take. I know what I saw. We all did, and I will never forget it. B15. Live in New Mexico. Fuck this place, man, hot as fuck, why not California? Live in a nice house, outskirts of town, about 30-minute walk into town proper, 5 minutes in a car. Big ass backyard, like bigger than the house, and on the other side of the fence is straight up forest. Hardly even 20 minutes away from Gila Nat. Forest. This is like summer though. June or July or somewhere in there, so nobody goes into the forest. Brother John, call him Johnny, is in the Marines. He's on shore leave, home for a week or 2. So what does he do? Wrangles up a bunch of his military friends, about 8, and invite me to go camping with them in the forest behind our house. Tells me I can invite a friend or 2 of mine, bring my hunting rifle in case they feel like going on a deer hunt or something. Sure, why not? Johnny's been away for a long ass time. Invite my best friend Sarah to go camping with us. She's like, of course, lol. Now a word on John, he loves scaring the piss out of me. So the entire time people are arriving at our house I'm expecting him to pull some sort of shit. Keeping my cell phone in my bra because we aren't that far away from the house and it's not like we won't get any service when we're in the woods. Everything's fine for about 30 minutes, I'm sitting with Sarah and we're giggling. All of John's Marine buddies are good guys, but really rowdy. They have beer, offer us some. Sarah goes fuck that, but I've got nothing against beer, so why not? I take one beer and that's it. They may be good guys, but they're guys and I'm not about to get drunk with like 8 of them around. For the most part everything was normal until I felt something watching me from the woods. I looked around for Johnny because I wanted to ask him if he invited anybody else to go camping with us. He's nowhere to be seen. Worried, but Johnny also has a rifle, so he'll be fine. Take up spots on the edge of the campsite so we can watch the guys. After 20 minutes there are guys running around shirtless, laughing and hooting and hollering and shit, wearing camo fatigues and hiking boots and having a good time, and Sarah and I are busy with the eye candy when I feel something grab my shoulder from behind. Jesus Christ. It's Johnny, he fucking snuck up behind me. I'm mad, but I'm not about to go back inside or anything. Eventually the campsite gets moved a little deeper into the forest, we can barely see the fence from where we are. Sun is definitely going down now, and in the dark the house and the fence fades from view. Light a campfire, sure, why not? Dudes are dancing around it shirtless, everybody's laughing. Around our house, usually the forest lit up with noise around sundown. I'm talking, like birds and shit. It always got pretty noisy. But tonight it's dead fucking silent, not a single owl or bird or anything. We don't care, it's a party. Sarah is flirting hardcore with some of the guys, and that's sort of gross to me, but only because I A, associate them with my brother, and B, they're all 21 and up. Suddenly we hear this. I don't know. A wail? A moan? Sounded like 2 people at the same time, high-pitched and low-pitched. Off in the forest. Everybody gets quiet. Thank God for Marines, they put their shirts on and put away the beer for a second. Maybe it's a bear. Nigga, when have you ever heard a bear like that? At this point we notice that the forest is silent, just dead fucking silent. Everybody is getting a little nervous now, especially Sarah. Let's go back to the house. Come on guys, really we should go back to the house. Johnny's buddy Martin basically tells her to woman up and settle down. Sarah gets pissed and clams up. We hear it again, closer this time. Johnny's got his rifle, I go to get mine. But like a fucking idiot I left it at home. There are 3 people with hunting rifles including Johnny and 1 guy with a pistol. Suddenly everything fucking reeks. I'm talking rotting meat and vomit, it's so bad that one of Johnny's friends gags. Hardcore Marine has been overseas for like 3 months. He AAAs from this smell that is coming out of the woods. Form up around us because protect the civilians, I guess? 8 guys with Johnny, Sarah, and I in the middle. Now, living in New Mexico, we hear a lot of Spanish horror stories and such, so there are a couple of jokes floating around about La Llorona, the one who cries, which is a popular ghost story. Sarah hates that sort of shit. Shut the fuck up guys right now, seriously. Martin tells her to cool her tits, it's just a joke. She starts to reply when the campfire goes out. Mass fucking panic, the guys are shouting jargon to each other and 2 guys break formation to try and get the fire back going again. Sarah starts screaming and says somebody just touched my chest. Fire goes back on, the guys get back into formation. Sarah is sobbing, covering her boobs with her arms. Johnny has his rifle raised, looking around. The guys start to settle down, when Johnny starts screaming at the dude in the back of the group. He's just standing there, back to the rest of us as per circle formation or whatever, and he isn't moving at all. At first I have no idea what the issue is. I mean, maybe he drank a little too much or something. I try to calm Johnny down but he is full man mode and I can't get him to chill. Johnny, what the fuck is the matter with you? He's screaming tango. 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 But the other guys don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Look around to make sure everybody's still there and I nearly shit myself. There are 9 people in the circle. Nope.jpg. A second later the other guys catch on, the 2 standing on either side of whoever the fuck this is leap back like it's about to explode. All 3 rifles and the pistol leveled at this guy's head, he doesn't even fucking move as 8 dudes start shouting for him to get on the ground and put his hands on his head. Hear something rustle in the bushes off to the right. 8 dudes turn with military precision to look, and Sarah and I scream because the second they look away, no. 9 starts to look over his shoulder and then vanishes. Nope, out of the circle. Nope, down the hill towards my house. Nope, straight into the fence because fuck if I can see where I'm going. Luckily I'm a bit stockily built, and I've got plenty of muscle from hiking and hunting in the woods, and the fence is old and weak. I go right through my fucking fence, cut myself in 3 places and get a fat splinter in my elbow, but I'm back in my backyard at least. Johnny, Sarah, and the others come hurtling down the hill after me, filing through the fence. Tango sighted. In the light of the campfire we can see it standing in our campsite looking down at us. Light is sketchy at best by this point, especially since it's standing in front of the fire, but from the fence it looks like its head is jittering back and forth on its neck, like those twitchy fuckers in Jacob's Ladder. 3 gunshots, when the muzzle flash dies down, it's gone again. Hear the wail/moan again, and then closer than ever we hear this freakish gibbering laughter, like hyena level shit. Shoot it. Now they're wasting ammo out of fear, shooting at shadows in the forest. Sarah has practically shit herself by this time. She's sobbing and screaming and trying to get me on my feet so we can get back inside. Johnny tells the others to get through the fucking fence already. When we all look back up, it's halfway down the hill, shaking like it's vomiting or something, but there's no sound or anything coming out of its mouth. Get in the fucking house. Through the fence, sprint across the yard, Johnny pulling me along because my arm fucking hurts and I can't do anything. Make it back inside, lock the back door, crowd around it with guns. Martin helps me with my fucked up arm and Johnny grabs my hunting rifle from my room, locking all of the doors and windows in the house as he goes. Sit around the door all night, literally too piss scared to leave our spots. Parents come home from town at 12:15 and we all shit bricks. My mom and dad refused to believe us even though I'm all bloody. Johnny's gun has clearly been fired and he shows them the clip, and we're all clearly spooked as fuck. They got mad at us for A, locking all the doors, and B, leaving a fire in the forest, so they just go right to bed. Anon's mom is right, we gotta put out that fire. Johnny straight up fucking laughs, like who is going to be stupid enough to go back out there? Sarah volunteers. Are you shitting me? Sarah started bitching about having left her purse or something back at the campsite, so eventually Marvin, who I'm beginning to think at this point is kind of a dickbag, tells the others that it's probably just shadows and shit. Sarah goes with Marvin back to the campsite. Marvin takes the pistol. We sit there for like 10 minutes, getting antsier and antsier. Pounding on the back door. Jesus Christ. Martin starts screaming for us to let him in, calling us faggots and niggers and the like. Johnny opens the door. Where's Sarah? Doesn't know. Where the fuck is Sarah? Apparently when they got to the campsite, when Martin put out the campfire, Sarah started giggling like a hyena and then vanished. He got the fuck out of there. Johnny started arguing with Martin about leaving a civilian alone in the forest, and I'm just ready to pass out or cry from exhaustion in my arm. Johnny and Martin are fucking screaming at each other. Mom comes in from her bedroom and tells them to shut the fuck up. People are trying to sleep. What's going on? I start crying, tell her that Sarah's gone. What do you mean gone? Fuck if I know. Martin fills my mom in and she goes to call the police. Johnny tells her to wait in her room and lock it, and her window, and the bathroom door. Martin calls Johnny an idiot and tells him that they should get all the civilians rounded up in the same place. Johnny starts to respond when there's a thump on the back door. Knocking, but it's horribly wrong, no rhythm or anything. Sounded like, thump thump, thump thump, thump, thump thump, thump thump, thump. Raspy voice, like, completely inhuman, says Tango from the other side of the door. Sounds like, Tango. Wersha fuckus 3. Martin shoots through the door. Loud fucking scream, then the sound of someone hauling ass across the yard. Where's Sarah? Devolves into this guttural, atrocious snarling. Then, quiet. After 3 or 4 minutes of this, I swear to God it felt like an eternity, we hear snuffling outside the door. Smell is back. We hear whimpering, then giggles from just outside the door, near the bottom. Whimpering like a dog or an animal. Then, very very softly, from the bottom of the door, Sarah. EEM. Sarah. Everything in my body goes fucking cold, my stomach does a flip, and the guys are too freaked out to even shoot for a second. Johnny puts a rifle round through the door, but by the time he shoots the thing must have moved, because seconds later we hear the hyena laughter up on the hill again. Watch the back door until the police show up. Someone is in the forest fucking with us. They investigate, come back in half an hour and say that their dogs are going apeshit, but they can't find anything, have we been doing drugs, etc. Alcohol, but that's it. Police leave and we don't hear the thing again. Nobody felt safe going home that night, and my bedroom had a window looking out into the backyard, so everybody slept in the living room. The next day we got all our shit from the campsite and I went to Sarah's house to tell her parents that Sarah had gone missing in the forest. Sarah lived down the street from us, and their backyard didn't lead into the forest like ours did, but it was really close. Sarah's mom answers the door. Explain. What are you talking about? I heard Sarah come in early this morning. Nope, out of there. We moved about 3 weeks later, to California. Before anybody asks, no, I didn't go to see Sarah at all after that. She didn't show up to school, and I refused to even go outside alone without my rifle, so I was sort of a shut-in.
One I heard from a buddy that was there. Afghanistan in US Army 2011. On a patrol in the mountains a few miles from the FOB. We're late getting back on time, so we're speeding. Take shortcut on the map. It's some back road that looks like it hasn't been used in years. Around a corner we see a soldier in old BDUs that look beat to shit holding a rusty flashlight standing in the middle of the road. Keep in mind BDUs have been phased out for years now. He holds up his hand motioning us to stop. We do. As we get closer we see he's just a specialist. Everyone looks at each other. He walks over to our driver's door and says we should slow down and that there has been accidents on this road. We say all right and he motions with the light to leave. Up the road a few hundred feet around a sharp turn the guardrail is broken open. We stop, get out and look over the side. Down a steep cliff about 100 feet down is a Humvee that's obviously been there for a long time. Nope, the fuck out of there. Speed like shit all the way back to base. Some poor soldier is still protecting lives even after he's dead, goddamn. Be in Iraq 04. B3/1 Weapons Co. I was carrying a 240 Bravo. It's a large gun, and people who carry it are known as gunners. Often phrases will be made like, do you even gun bro? And I gun mad hard. The point behind this is, that you are carrying a big ass fucking gun that can throw a lot of lead downrange very quickly. It's almost impossible to feel scared while carrying this beast because of its pure lethality and the fact that it can put 20 rounds in someone before they even see you. Let me tell you about the only time I ever got scared in the Marine Corps, while carrying the biggest gun. I guess I should start off by saying that Iraq is a weird country. Anyone who's been there can attest to that. There are a million things that work differently than in our comfortable first world countries, and some of those things can be terrifying. The way they shit, for example. The moment I arrived in Fallujah, the first thing I noticed was the smell. Large trenches 3 feet wide and stretching the length of the entire road were filled to the brim with shit. Very different indeed. It was day 1 of Operation Phantom Fury, and my fire team was tasked with clearing the far left column of the city, and it was known for being heavily occupied with Mujahideen and other foreign fighters, and included a shopping mall that a platoon element would clear. We cleared the first 2 houses easily, no occupants. The third building was the shopping mall. It was nothing spectacular, it was like any other shopping mall except for the Arabic lettering and portrait of Saddam in the center. The point man shot the glass door open because we couldn't kick the lock out, and we were in. LCPL Hicks, take your fire team and clear the bottom level. SGT. Quinn, my lance coolie, said back. The doors to the basement were padlocked, and they were wide double doors made of thick metal. A saw to the lock, and we opened the door. That was the first time I ever smelled death. Pure blackness greeted us. Torches on LCPL Hicks says as we switch on our flashlights. Anon, keep that gun up and finger on the trigger. I don't give a shit about trigger discipline right now. Senior Lance, I said. We went down the stairs, guns up and pumped up to shoot some motherfuckers like we all were waiting to do. About 15 steps later we hit the bottom floor, and I immediately hear the sound of running footsteps to my left. Left side. I scream as everyone levels their weapons into the now illuminated basement. Nothing. Literally nothing. The footsteps stopped and we maneuvered our way left. The power had been knocked out days beforehand, but our flashlights did a decent job of illuminating the area. It was a large area devoid of everything except a desk with a laptop with papers strewn about on it and a closed door on the right wall. The laptop and papers are considered not to be fucked with by infantry, so LCPL Hicks called out to our private fresh out of SWA West. PVT. Fitch, go grab that 18 Foxtrot upstairs and tell him to come down here. Lance Corporal, he says, and goes up to retrieve the Special Forces soldier in charge of intel gathering. As we wait for our SF Intel SGT, we go over to the door and stack up, LCPL Hicks as our point man. He motions for a bang and clear, so he kicks the door in and I throw it in there. BOOF, we enter the doorway and are met with the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. Very quickly I see a figure run in front of me with no goddamn head. Everyone else had seen him too, because we all lit everything the fuck up as soon as we saw it. Everyone else had used maybe a half mag, but I was 50 rounds deep. It was serious now. I move swiftly towards the right side of the room, while my teammates take the left. Right side clear, I shout. Left side clear, they shout. Closed doorway front, I shout. There's no goddamn body. No fucking body. We stack up on the closed door, and I'm not taking any fucking chances. Gonna throw a frag. I yell. LCPL Hicks hands me a frag and knocks the door open. I frag it and wait for the boom. The explosion occurs, and I see the craziest shit. There's dead bodies everywhere, and the frag only helped aid to the chaos. Hunks of human flesh pinned to S-hooks in the ceiling and several decapitated corpses lying in a pile in the right corner. No more doorways, this was the end of the hellish maze. There was a single body crouched in the corner that we all thought my frag had killed. He was crouched in the fetal position and his body was laden with shrapnel. There were weird symbols all over the walls that the SF Intel SGT confirmed as an Iraqi cult that perpetrated mass murders all around Iraq that rarely got any attention outside the SF community. This shit still bothers me, and is the only reason I'm convinced that there is some supernatural shit going on in this world. TLDR, I killed an Iraqi cult member sitting in a room filled with dead human meat with a frag shortly after my fire team, and I dumped 100 rounds into a headless ghost.
Not Innawoods, but I basically live Innawoods. This story goes over about 10 years. Be me 10 YRS old at the time. Playing in woods across from house like I always do. Fucking around with my pocket knives in some shitty off-brand BDUs playing army guy. Tiny commando.jpg. I hear shit going down over the side of the hill, pack of coyotes run past. Freak out cause I'm a little fucking kid and fuck fighting off coyotes. Make it back to house. Alright, fuck Greentext. When I was around 12 my mother was diagnosed with cancer. It was just skin cancer, but it was enough to send her into deep depression about it. She always did do a good job of keeping a happy face on for myself and my two sisters though. To compensate she throws herself into her hobbies, one of which was and still is collecting antique dolls. Within a few months her collection grows from about 50 to over 250, currently at 600. Swear to God, dolls ranging from late 1700s to vintage Barbies. So some of them are absolutely haunted, so I just stay away from my basement now. Anyway, she bought something from this chick on eBay. She later called her up with some questions about the dress or whatever. The lady on the line says something along the lines of, "Are you sitting in the front room with the blue curtains and red oriental rug?" Keep in mind this is before Google Earth kicked ass, also you can't see that room from Google Earth even now. Yes, how did you know that? I may insert supernatural shit here. My mom was fairly spooked at that point, but she is a big fan of supernatural stuff, even claiming to have her own experiences with ghosts. She talks to the lady for a bit and she mentions that the woods across from our house are haunted, the ones I play in. Needless to say, I didn't go in those woods anymore. Now what I haven't mentioned yet is that I would have a recurring nightmare for the majority of my life. In those woods there was a dead tree along the tree line with a single branch that extended at 90 degrees for about 3 or so feet. In my dreams there would always be this tall, maybe 8 or so feet, black thing that would be staring at me with its arm drooped over that branch. As I got older the dreams started getting longer and more vivid. When they started I was just looking at it from my window. As I got older I would be in my front doorway, then eventually in my front yard. It progressed to me being chased through the woods by this thing. Around 12 is also when I started sleepwalking. It wouldn't happen often, but when it did they would find me in the front yard, standing and staring into the woods. Over the years we started having things happening in our home. Doors opening, lights flicking on. That kinda shit. Never any harm or anything broken, just Casper the Friendly Ghost shit. Nothing really ever happened that I could see, but I constantly had a feeling of dread in my home and would sleep often and was generally just lethargic and irritable. Once I moved away for college, met a girl and started dating, still am. Her best friend is a straight-up clairvoyant. Father's a pastor of some church in PA where apparently they did devil worship for a good while, so they have had a lot of encounters of shit like crosses flying off the wall. But I'll write about her later. She says she can see people's aura. I don't really believe in that, but whatever, I'll entertain it, could be fun. She talks about how most good people are greens and blues, shit like that, but mine is a dark greenish brown. k/ommando-aura.jpg. This is important later. My 18th birthday rolls around and I go to lunch with my sister. We get to talking about spooky stuff at the house growing up, and also because it's late October, she tells me about our other sister, Sarah, oldest. I'm the baby. Turns out she was having the same dreams I was having but never told me about it because they didn't want to scare me. Her room had windows that faced the haunted woods. From a young age she refused to sleep in there because of ghosts and would sleep in my other sister's bed. As she got older she stopped doing so and slept in her own room. Her dreams apparently were worse than mine. She would wake up in a sleep paralysis state and have the dark figure standing over her, sometimes hurting her. So back to me. During that first year in college my parents went out of town for the weekend and asked me to watch the dogs. Missing my dogs, I said of course. I brought my girl to spend the weekend with me and drink while engaging in sexy times. I'm just going to call my ghost Tim. So we were at my place having fun and trying to play with my doggos, but they were being standoffish. I chucked it up to them not knowing her. We went downstairs and watched a movie and got ready for bed. I should mention after my oldest sister left I moved into her room because it was bigger. This is the one she had sleep paralysis in. The whole time I had my usual feeling of dread but just chucked it up to me hating my house because bad memories. We went to sleep. Late in the night I swear to fucking God the house started shaking like a damn leaf and it sounded like a freight train was going through the hall. I hear a voice scream anon. I jump out of bed with a war cry, ass naked. Ram my door open with my cookery in hand to battle the beast that has been fucking with me for years. Nothing was there but my dogs were freaking the fuck out. I calmed them down and went back to bed. Largeballs.jpg. I asked my girl why she screamed my name. She insisted she didn't. She felt the shaking and everything as well, so I know I'm not crazy. She was thoroughly spooked, so I took her back to her dorm the next day and went back home to look after my dogs and finger fuck my guns. The dread I felt that day was like no other. It was truly draining. I end up making a few crosses in my wood shop and hang them in various places like above my bedroom windows and such. I don't want to talk about what happened that night. When I came back her clairvoyant best friend was shocked to see me. My girl had told her everything and she was scared for me. I looked like a damn junkie after that night. She said she thought my aura may be brown because the damn thing was feeding off me my whole life. She told me people that have dark-colored auras are always shitty people, but that I was a good person. I am you faggots. When I slept at my dorm I didn't have the nightmares. When I went home the following summer they started back up. I became lethargic and irritable again. In one nightmare I even ended up strangling one of the ghosts in my dream. It was sick. So coming out of this, at least I know my fight response is way more powerful than my flight. I can't Greentext, so I won't. I'm still unsure of what I saw, but I think it was a spooky. Basically, my family owns land in upstate Pennsylvania, in the Allegheny National Forest. It's been in my family since 1913. But I digress. I used to go up there a few times a year to dick around at camp. There was a house up there that my grandfather built in the 60s that we all stayed in. I was there with my mom, dad, grandfather, 2 siblings, and various distant kinfolk in late November. On the 3rd night, I was up at 2 or 3 a.m., because I was and still am an insomniac. I was trying to look at the moon. I was 6 at the time, and was in our back porch room. I was looking at it while it was over a scanty tree line. And I saw my cousin Nate. He was standing by a creek about 50 or so meters into the tree line. I tried to call out to him, because little me thought it was odd for him to be out so late. He turns around, and something was wrong. His face wasn't set right. He was just wrong. I opened the back door and waved to him. After a delay of about 5 or 6 seconds, he waves back. But it wasn't smooth. He was waving jerkily, like someone who had never done it before. I say, "What ya doin'?" to him. He didn't react, really. But he said hello back. It wasn't his voice. I still remember it. It was like a dog trying to vomit while mimicking human speech. He starts moving toward me, but in a halting, jerking fashion. Kinda like the arm wave. I smelt an awful smell that I didn't know at the time. The closest approximation I could think of is when I mixed hydrochloric acid with aluminum foil in chemistry. This wasn't Nate. I slammed the screen door, but I couldn't hit the latch because I was shaking much too bad. In the span of the few seconds it took me to slam the door and fumble the lock, this not Nate managed to cross the 50 meters to the tree line. I was watching through the door, and not Nate was pale. Super pale. Like, pre-makeup, bloodless corpse pale. It said something like "Wurtjerdurg" to me, in the same inhuman voice. Now, I bowled through the porch room into the house proper. On my final peek back before I screamed for my family, it was leering at me through the mesh door. Not trying to break in. Just standing there, with its deathly pale and inhumanly emotionless face. My grandpa is down by now, pissed that I woke him up, but he can't get anything out of me because I'm practically in shock. Once I calm down and give him a less detailed rundown of what I saw, a change came over him. He had a set, firm expression. He told me it was a dream, and to go back to sleep. But after I went upstairs, I heard him go down them. I peeked from the top, and saw he had what I now know as a Winchester Model 70. 30 or so minutes later, a gunshot. Then 4 more. And that's about it. Next night at dinner, Nate is present here. I ask him about what happened. Grandpa, in a "shut the hell up" voice, tells me it was just a nightmare. He denied the gunshots too, saying it was all just a dream. I still don't feel safe at that camp, but had no more encounters like that. Sorry this was so long.
2 brothers get back from deployment. We grab another bro and decide to do some hiking for a few days. Spend a week or so trying to pick a spot. Decide to go to an Indian reservation in the eastern part of the state. Drive is a couple hours but we're used to it. Stop into town to get snacks and make sure we're good on supplies for a 2 days 1 night. Our plan is to park, hike up for a few hours until we find a perfect spot, maybe do a little shooting, and then head back. 3 of us have ARs, I had an AR pistol, save ounces HURR, and last bro has an AK, so anything out there animal-wise isn't going to be an issue, except for maybe cougars. Those bastards are sneaky. Ask the clerk if there's anything we should be concerned about with the area we plan on camping in. Website just mentioned basic bears/cougars/etc. Clerk was maybe early 40s Native American woman. She tells us in a deadpan face to maintain a visual on each other at all times, and says that a native girl saw a skinwalker a few days ago. 2 brothers back on deployment think skinwalkers are just an /x/meme. Other bro doesn't even know what skinwalkers are. He asks her. She says that they are cursed witches who have gone against nature and their tribe and are punished to live the rest of their life. As a testament to that, they will appear disfigured, and will try to lure people into their trap so that they can kill them. Bro thinks it's just superstition and kind of brushes it off. We make one final check, and drive out. We get to the beginning of our hike, park, throw on our pack/chest rigs, fuck you it's comfy to me, and sling up our guns. Hike for a couple hours, taking breaks for a snack/water or to admire the scenery. Eventually come across a near perfect spot. Small hill nearby that we can use as a backstop if we wanna blow some ammo away. Rocks for a fire pit. Stream is about 50 m away to boot. Decide to set everything up there. OFC whether or not you guys believe this, up to you 100%. Brought a 4-man tent, those eggshell pads, cooking supplies, we are fucking set. 2 of us set up camp while the other 2 go get some water for when we put the fire out and collect some firewood. Found a decent log to use for seating too. Thankfully it's summer and in the east of the state so everything is nice and dry. After 2 brothers come back, finish setup and go check out the area. Get some more wood. Don't really see anything wild that would be good other than a few bushes of berries, not a bad snack. Head back to dump the rest of the wood then off for a little trigger time. We brought plenty of ammo, and make sure to leave a few mags left over just in case. Sun's starting to get low, decide to head back and make dinner. After a decent hiking meal, get the fire full blast and start bullshitting, catching up. Sun is almost down. Need more wood. 1 mil bro decides to get more wood. I insist on going with him despite his protests that nothing is going to happen and the clerk was just trying to get us spooked. Head towards area we passed on our way in that looked good for wood, ha. We get maybe 25 m from where we set up and are getting a decent bit of wood, wanting to get enough to last us the night and start a fire in the morning. Mil bro 1 is about 3 m from me. Notices something odd. Hey Anon, was this here when we came in? Come check this shit out man. Don't see it at first, take out my backup light and shine to where he's pointing. 4 giant fucking claw marks in tree with dried blood underneath. Each mark was a good 2 across and maybe 1/4 deep. And considering that the edges of each mark were still rough and not worn in by the weather, and that we didn't see them earlier, probably fresh. Because that was definitely not there when we came in. Mil bro 1 thinks the other 2 brothers did it to get us spooked. We grab as much wood as we can and quickly fuck off back to camp. Yes. Mil bro 1 and I get back to camp, dump the wood. Mil bro 1 looks at the other 2 guys. Very fucking funny faggots, you spooked Anon, now he thinks some witch is out to fucking get us or something. Dude, what are you talking about? The giant fucking claw marks you guys carved in the large tree at the clearing we passed earlier, what did you guys use for the fake blood? You should have at least made it believable, come on guys. Other 2 brothers are puzzled. Non-mil bro Chimson dude, we didn't make any claw marks, we didn't even go to that clearing for wood. Mil bro 2 backs up his story, hell you guys saw what direction we went in and came back from. Not to mention we had to go to the stream for the extra water, why would we have doubled the distance just to fuck with you guys a bit? Plus, did any of us bring anything bigger than a folder? I mean, we do have a hatchet, but that's either been in the tent or somebody has been splitting wood with it, it hasn't left camp, guys. Non-mil bro brings up what the clerk says and skinwalkers. Mil bro 1 still ain't buying it, Mil bro 2 is a bit wary. Look, if it is a skinwalker, we just have to stick together, we have guns, and it's going to want to trick us, we just have to keep our heads up. Mil bro 1 says or we could just not believe that bullshit and get back to enjoying ourselves. Sure, but let's just keep aware. By now sun is down, light is fading fast, each of us have at least 1 light, and we have a good fire going, conversation is back in full swing. Milbro 2 suddenly stops talking and paying attention to the conversation. Milbro 1 asks what the fuck he's doing. I heard something, man, sounded like voices. Oh come the fuck on, man, you're just hearing shit. But Milbro 1, it sounded like you. I would hope so. I was in the middle of a story. No, it sounded like you were talking from the woods. Each grab a light and shine it around. Nothing. Really? What did I say then? 'Cause I ain't seeing anything out here. It sounded like you were saying check this out, which is why it seemed weird to me. Remember back to getting wood when that's what Milbro 1 said to me. He was out of earshot of the other two, so they couldn't have known what he said. Gotta speed this up a bit, need sleep. Eventually we all start hearing shit. Various phrases, all in each other's voices. We quiet down trying to hear where it's coming from. Suddenly hear what I can only think of as laughter. But it sounds bizarre, almost hollow, doesn't sound like any laughter any of us have ever heard. The best way to describe it is the mixture of screeching and laughter. It's loud as all hell and sounds like it's coming from all around us. We have three options: find whatever is making the noise and confront it with the possibility of killing it if it's hostile, pack our shit and hump it back to the car, or sleep in shifts through the night and haul ass first thing in the morning. We debate on this briefly. Option 1 could result in us getting lost. We have a map and land nav skills, but we don't want to lose our gear or get too far from camp. Option 2 is more viable, but it's almost 10 p.m. and it's pitch black outside. Without constant light we wouldn't be able to see it if it decides to ambush us. Option 3 seems like our best bet. We get light, a bit of sleep, but we're stationary so it knows exactly where we are. We decide to go with option 3. Since we have 2 guys with mill experience, and 2 guys without, Milbro 1 and I will be shift 1, Milbro 2 and non-Milbro will be shift 2. Sunrise was going to be at 6 a.m.-ish, and it's about 10 p.m, we decide to do 4-hour shifts. 2 hours is going to leave us groggy as hell and 3 hours doesn't break it up evenly. It will feel long but it will have to do. We start shift 1. We hear the occasional phrase, simply respond with fuck off and continue keeping each other awake. After about 2 or so hours, dead quiet. No critters making sound whatsoever, no wind, just us 2 talking quietly. At the 4-hour mark, we're kind of spooked, simply because we don't know where it went or if it's still around. We throw some more wood on the fire, and wake up shift 2. They crack some energy drinks to keep up. Slide into my sleeping bag still a bit freaked out. But I'm tired as fuck and pass out. Woken up and God knows what hour to rounds being fired off and Milbro 2 yelling contact. Milbro 1 and I spring up, still fully clothed / geared up, grab our guns and come out the tent. Hey Milbro 2, what the fuck are you shooting at? We saw it, man. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's here. If you see yellow glowing eyes you shoot that fucking thing. Fuck this shit, at least we could usually see Haji. Lights out and scanning, we don't see anything at first. Non-Milbro quietly calls out that he thinks he sees it hunched behind a bush, 15 m from where we are. All I can see is the bush, and behind that something covered in possibly gray and black fur or some sort, hunched over like it's on all fours with its arched back coming above the bush just barely, and through the bush a pair of yellow eyes. The second I see the eyes, chills run down my spine. Make sure everybody sees it. Milbro 1 now pretty convinced skinwalkers is reals. Not sure if we can even kill it, decide to at least try. From first sighting to shooting is maybe 10 or 15 seconds. We open up. We manage to get a few rounds off before it darts out of sight. The screeching laughter resumed. Only this time much louder. Not sure where it went, we try to find it with our lights, weapons still raised. Dude, fuck this, we should have picked somewhere fucking normal for this shit. God damn it, man, was that clerk right? Is this a fucking skinwalker? How do you deal with these things? My ears are ringing so I can't tell who exactly said what. Now all four of us are wide awake. Check time and it's about 4:30. Decide fuck it, we're all staying up from this point. More energy drinks, pass around some smokes. We throw the remainder of our wood into the fire. Not a word is said between us at this point. After what feels like an eternity, the sun rises. At this point it's been about 2 or so hours since the first shot. Since then, not a single sign of the supposed skinwalker. We hastily pack up. But before leaving, we check the bush we saw the skinwalker hiding behind. Behind the bush are claw marks in the ground which are larger than any animal in the area and match closely to what we saw on the tree. On the ground is some blood, maybe it was the dirt mixed with the blood, but it seemed too dark to be human blood according to both Mill brothers. Hump it back to the car in a hurry. None of us got a whole lot of sleep. Stop back into the general store for more energy drinks and another pack of smokes. All a bit visibly rattled. The same clerk sees us. You boys are here early, I can tell by your faces you saw something. Yeah, and we don't have a clue what it was. We briefly described it, the claws, the gray/black fur, the screeching laughter. Her face became even more serious, almost concerned. You four are lucky then, you saw a skinwalker face to face, it could have easily killed you all. Not much is said between us on the way back. Missed out on campfire pancakes. We all decide to not camp on reservations anymore. Haven't been camping since then. Be hunting coyotes out in a cornfields. Be hunt 10 at night. Be hunting over gut pile of some jack-lighted deer. Shoot 2 coyotes, leave them there. Half hour passes, nothing. Suddenly, silence. Complete fucking silence. No bugs, no birds, no anything. Crunch scrape crunch tearing noise. WTF. Cloud goes over moon. Complete darkness. Like, can't see your own hand darkness. Moon comes back out. Something silvery, very low to ground, and about 8 feet long gnawing on dead coyote by gut pile. Assume pair of coyotes laid down to dine, explains the length, night vision sucks for distance recognition. Bring rifle to shoulder, sight approximately where a shoulder/hip would be, .243 ballistic tips more than enough to fuck a coyote even with a hip shot. Crack. It just kinda stands up. Only gains like 6 inches in height but can now clearly see it only has 4 legs. Eyes. Oh god, the eyes. Blood fucking red, and huge. Like, bigger than a coyote's entire head huge. Work dad bolt. Crack. Watch round impact in puff of dust and hair 3 inches behind/beside one eye. It just kinda saunters off, like I'd hit it with a cork gun. Work the bolt faster than I've ever worked a bolt before. Crack. Bolt workin'. Crack. Now out of sight. Rapidly reload. Tactically myself back to truck. Grab AR, 8 mags, and fuck Hug battery spotlight. Tactically my way back. 1 million candle power spotlight FTW. Blood and fur fucking everywhere. Dead coyote is bitten clean in half. Like one bite. Fur is like fake redhead red. Like I'd shot a pipe full of cheap wigs. Notice blood trail. Blood looks black. That ain't right, not under incandescent light. Take Walmart receipt from pocket. Dab in blood. Blood is black. Frantically shine light all over woodline. Immediately light up the face/eyes of that thing. It's just sitting there, watching. Sitting like a dog, but it's like 6 feet tall. Wait a minute, its legs weren't that long. Shine light on its chest. It's leaning on an old fence post. Like a human. Covered in that fake redhead red fur. Mag dump AR. Reload. It appears completely unconcerned, even though there is now black blood clearly visible on its fur. Tactically nope my way back to truck. Haul ass to town. Get Game Warden. Game Warden goes back out with me at first light, armed for bear. Coyotes and deer now reduced to clean, white bone. Bones still in skeleton position. No predator eats like that. No predator is that clean. Find blood and fur. Game Warden takes samples in evidence bag. Go home. Be informed immediately upon returning home. DNR has already called with analysis. I know for a fucking fact I beat the warden back to town. DNR says it was a bobcat. My state hasn't had a confirmed bobcat sighting since the 30s. That thing was easily 20x the size of a bobcat. Call DNR back. Get brusquely told to drop the subject. I think the government was field testing some sentient bioweapon. It absorbed at least 2 good hits from a .243 and at least 1 good hit from 5.56 Swift A-frame. Never went back to farm after dark. Holy shit. Op posted a screen cap of my story. I finally found and killed the red thing about 3 months ago. Was the farm neighbors inbred/retarded and died for ID llama. Why they chose fake redhead red for a fur dye I don't know. Thing was furry as shit, like it never been sheared. I guess darkness does something to one's eyes cause it had normal legs for a llama. I saw it in broad daylight in one of my farm's gullies, immediately recognized it. It was laying down and looked exactly how I remembered it, and shot it with a 7mm mag. It never moved, so I shot it 3 more times. Finally get up the courage to go over to it, had blown out the far shoulder and most of its chest cavity. I swear I fucking love A-frames, with one of the shots and completely mutilated the ribs with the other 3. I gutted and skinned it and lo and behold it had a .243 bullet lodged in its neck vertebrae, which had healed, another one sitting against its left shoulder blade, which had also apparently healed, and a big divot missing out of its right eyebrow ridge, probably my first shot. The one I claimed hit a few inches behind an eye, that had also scarred over. No evidence of actually hitting it with my AR, but if I'd nicked it wouldn't have shown. I also have an explanation for the black blood. Maroon wool dye or whatever the fuck they used, when fresh, plus blood black liquid. They must have just re-dyed the thing cause it was leaving dark smears in the leaves where it had been laying. I backtracked it to our property line fence and found several places it had laid down that were completely smeared in fur dye. Still have NFI why it was munching on dead coyote or even near a gut pile at all. Maybe it was mutated or something. Called the game warden with an I think I might have fucked up, but do you remember when? Yeah, I found it again and killed it. Should have told him you killed something that looked like what you described, just to fuck with him. I did. He came out all tactical like with 3 sheriff's deputies in tow, then they collectively laughed their asses off when they realized I'd shot a llama in Laos. They even asked if I wanted to be a dick to the llama's owner since it's obvious he doesn't really try to keep his animals on his property by pressing charges. I told them I was good with having shot the damned thing. Then they asked me if I was gonna eat the thing. Hell fucking no, even after I knew what I was. It was creepy as shit, and when I declined they helped me burn it. Came out all tactical like with 3 sheriff's deputies in tow. Why if you had already killed the fucker? Because I had creeped the ever-loving shit out of the game warden on the original incident and he very vividly remembered both my story and the evidence he collected. He still maintains that he's never seen anything like it to this day, and since I didn't tell him it was a fucking llama in the call to him he had NFI if there were more. Here's a quote, or at least as close as I can remember from the phone call. Alright Mr. Insert name here, I'm on my way. Keep your rifle loaded and your head on a swivel. I know you said you killed it, but... sir, it's gutted and skinned. I blew the heart and lungs 10 feet out the other side of it. I'm pretty sure it's dead. Well, just in case, please. And be fucking careful. So you killed your neighbors. Expensive pet?